Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Timothy. On the channel we speak everything personal finance. Now your 20s is one of the most important times to build wealth because this is the start of everything. The things you do in your 20s will set you up for your future. So we want to make smart decisions, especially when it comes to your money. But if you're making these mistakes, then you're setting yourself up for a struggle, but let's set ourselves up for success. So hopefully this video will help you fix that. The first money mistake is buying a new car or just buying a car that you can't afford. Cars will literally put you in the ground. Like I'm telling you, the average car payment is like $600 to $700 a month. People are paying more than that. So if you're paying $600 to $700 a month on a 5 or 7 year car term, and say you get this at the beginning of your 20s, you'll be paying $500, $600 for your whole 20s. And then guess what? When you turn 30, you're gonna go get another car and you're gonna still pay that same amount of money. And then when you're younger, you pay more in insurance, you're gonna be paying a lot in gas and maintenance on these cars. Your monthly expenses when it comes to a car can be near $1,000 or more when you factor in all these different things. But if you don't believe me, let's do the math. Say you have a $600 car payment, you pay that for 5 years, that's $36,000 that you paid for a depreciating asset. Now imagine if you actually invested that money in the stock market and it grew at 8% rate of return. You have $52,000 in your investment account if you just invested that money instead of putting it into a depreciating asset. This is something that I preach and I try to get to people's heads. Stop buying these new cars, save up cash, $5,000, $10,000 or less, and buy a used car for cash and drive it till the wheels fall off. And I did a video on why I drive my 2002 Toyota Camry. My monthly expenses on this car is super cheap. It gets me from point A to point B, with point A being my house and point B being the job. I'm not worried about what kind of car I'm driving because I just need to get to my job. I need to get to the grocery store. I need to get to wherever I'm going, and it doesn't matter what I'm driving to get there. I'm going to get there at the same speed. I'm going to get there at the same time. I'm not trying to impress nobody. I just want to have a vehicle that's not expensive. And then I can actually put those dollars to things that matter. So instead of putting money to a vehicle, I can put money to my investments. I can put money to vacations. I can put money to savings. I can put money to paying off my student loans. Now, if I had a car payment, I just would not be able to put the money that I want to my investments. I would not be able to put the money that I want to put towards my loans. Get anything out of the video. Don't go out there buying a new vehicle. I know you just got the new job, but don't go out there buying a new $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 vehicle. It's not worth it. And if you actually do have to finance, then one of the rules that I like to follow was created by the money guys, the 23-8 rule. Basically, you put 20% down on a vehicle, you make sure that the loan term is within 3 years, and the payments are not more than 8% of your income. And the second money mistake to avoid in your 20s is to get into consumer debt. Now, I'm talking credit cards. There's no way that we should have these big balances that we can't pay off in our 20s. We literally just started our financial journey. We literally just started to get into the finances. We literally just got into the real world. We cannot start our financial journey being disadvantaged by having this credit card debt. So the best way to avoid this credit card debt is to live within your means. Don't spend more than what you make and you will avoid credit card debt. Control your impulse spending and you will be able to avoid credit card debt. I mean, with the average interest rate on a credit card being 20 to 30%, it just destroys your finances. The most of a return that you'll get from the stock market is maybe 12%. I mean, the last year and the last year or two was about 25%, but that is an anomaly. That is not normal. The average return on S&P 500, which is a collection of the top 500 companies in the US, was about 7 to 10%. So you're paying 20% to someone else. So they're getting a 20% return while you're paying that towards them, but you're not even getting a return on your money because you're probably not investing if you're paying all this money towards credit cards. I mean, the honest truth is that when you pay these minimums on these credit cards, you're just extending the amount of time that you're going to be able to pay something off, and you're ultimately paying thousands of dollars more than what the item was actually worth or what you actually ended up paying for the item. So in order to fix this, you need to pay your credit cards off in full every month. Just like I do, I pay my credit cards off in full every month. I get my points and I leave. I pay off all my credit cards every month. I've never had to pay a fee. I've never had to pay interest on my credit cards. And that is the proper way to do it. And that is the proper way to build your wealth and to build your credit. But also avoid financing things if you don't need it. Avoid financing laptops. Avoid financing these big ticket items. Save. Just save for a year or save for a few months, and before you know it, you'll be able to pay for these things in cash. And the third financial mistake is too many vacations. Now, I know you want to live your life. I know you want to live your best life, especially in your 20s, because you have the most energy right now. But we really need to set our financial base in our 20s. Yes, travel. Yes, enjoy your time, but don't travel to the detriment of your financial situation. Don't travel on credit cards. Don't travel to these super expensive locations and you're not investing. If you're traveling, you need to be investing. For us personally, we do about 2, maybe 3 bigger vacations in a year. This year, we're going to be doing 2. We're still investing. We're still saving money. Now, if we weren't saving, if we weren't investing, or if we were not able to save and we were not able to invest, then we are not traveling, because we need to set our future selves up for financial success. And traveling and spending, $3,000 to $5,000 on one vacation is a lot of money and will definitely put you behind if you're not investing in your 20s. And the fourth financial mistake is not investing early. We should be investing as soon as we start making money. Now, this is something I didn't really do. I didn't really know much about investing when I started making money, but I was always putting at least the minimum in my 401k to get the match. But then outside of that, I wasn't really investing anything else. And then I learned about house hacking and I learned about real estate. And I started to save money for my first house hack, which is the house we live in now, the duplex. So invest as soon as you can. And then shortly after that, I started investing into my Roth IRA. I started investing in my brokerage account. I started putting more money into my 401k. And now my investments are just growing and growing and growing every single day. And the earlier you start investing, the sooner compound interest can work in your favor. Compound interest is your best friend. So you invest money and then that money grows on that money and it just keeps compounding. Before you know, you have $500,000 in your account. Before you know, you have $1 million+ in your account. So right now, I'm working to get to that $100,000 invested. So don't put off investing in your 20s. You're going to get to a point where you're 40 or 50 years old and you're going to wish that you were investing in your 20s. And I hope that I never say that when I get older, that I wish I had put more money into my investments, because in the future, it could be rough. So invest anything you can. Invest $200, $300, invest $50 right now if you can invest $50, but invest something. Put money into your Roth IRA, try to max it out, put money into your 401k, get the match, put money into a brokerage account, so it can be a bridge account. Just invest something every month and make sure when you do invest, it's automatically invested into the stocks or into the ETFs that you believe in. You'll be surprised how much you'll have in your accounts by the time you retire if you started investing early. So just start investing something. Put something away for your retirement. And the fifth money mistakes is housing. Now, I know we want to be independent because we just graduated high school or we just left our parents' house. We're going to college and we just graduated college. We don't want to go back to our parents' house. We want to be independent. So we're going to go get that luxury apartment. We're going to go get that apartment on the water. We're going to get that townhouse. We're going to go buy a house because we want to be independent. Don't do it. Slow down, because housing is super expensive and there's so many nuances and there's so many different things that come to effect when we're talking about housing. Now, are we talking about getting an apartment on the water? How much is that going to cost? Now, your area might have rentals for $1,200 or $1,500, but if you get a house on the water, all of a sudden we're paying $2,500 to $3,000 to be on the water. Now, how much are you actually bringing home? I don't know. Can you afford that? I don't recommend that you go live on the water. I recommend that you go live in that $1,500 apartment and invest the difference. If you can actually afford a $2,500 apartment, then you should go get that cheaper apartment and invest the difference, because when you get the top of the line housing, or even when you get in housing at all, the money just gets tighter. So don't try to go straight for these cushy apartments or these luxury apartments, and definitely be careful when you're buying a house, because people just think that you buy a house and you get the same mortgage and the payment doesn't change. But that is the furthest from the truth of what actually happens when you buy a house. This is something that happened to us. Yes, I was that person. I'm like, yo, why don't I just buy a house? My payment's not going to go up. It's going to stay the same for the rest of my life and I'll be chilling. Wrong. Literally the next year after we bought this house, our payment went up by like $200 because taxes and insurance that we paid goes up. Property taxes go up every year. Property insurance goes up every year. So these things are going to be rising, but your actual mortgage payment is going to be the same. So you want to factor in how much you be paying, over time. Like your actual payment might go up 1 to 2 to 3% a year, just because you're living in a house. And then you have to factor in the maintenance. How much is it for a new roof? We had to get a new roof for the rental property down the street. We had to fix all these different things. We had to buy laundry machines. This house had no appliances, so we had to get 2 fridges, 2 stoves, and then we had to get a washer and a dryer. And then we had to replace a stove. I mean, there's so many different things that comes with a house that some people really aren't ready for. So my best advice would be to keep your housing expense under 30%. That's my recommendation to you, but definitely do what you want, because personal finance, and it's personal, and it's whatever you feel comfortable doing. All right, and those are the top 5 wealth killers in your 20s. And I promise you, by avoiding these mistakes, you will be ahead of 90% of your peers.